Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, guys, so I found another article from The Guardian. And I'm going to read the whole thing, just take it tongue-in-cheek because they're trying to make this douchebag sound like a great guy. So I will no longer be watching any of his interviews. Yeah, the cover-up really is real, isn't it? Filmmaker Paul Haggis ordered to pay $7.5 million to woman accusing him of rape. Jury awarded the sum to Haleigh Breest, who alleged the Academy Award winner had assaulted her in 2013. I'm pretty sure at the time he was a Scientologist. Dated November 10th, 2022. A jury ordered Academy Award-winning filmmaker Paul Haggis Thursday to pay at least $7.5 million to a woman who accused him of rape in one of several Me Too-era cases that have put Hollywood notables' behavior on trial this fall. The jury also decided that additional punitive damages should be awarded, but the amount is to be decided later. Oh, yeah, no, I want to make sure they watched it as usual. There's a little excerpt in here. Church of Scientology plays down links with high-profile Me Too case. Of course they do. Apparently, there's a lot more raping than I realized. I mean, I knew it was bad. I'll watch Serge Delmar's guest interview. I forgot her. I can't think of her name. They just said her name. She also was drugged and raped while in Scientology by a Scientologist. So the name of that video is OMG Special Guest, and that's Serge Delmar. Okay. The civil court trial pitted Haggis, I don't know how to say his name, Haggis, known for writing Best Picture Oscar winners $1 Million Baby and Crash, against Haleigh Breest, a publicist who met him while working at movie premieres in the early 2010s. After a screening after party in January 2013, he offered her a lift home and invited her to his New York apartment for a drink. Remember that, young ladies. Remember that, remember that, remember that, remember. Just say no. Breest, 36, said Haggis then subjected her to unwanted advances and ultimately compelled her to perform blank sex and raped her despite her entreaties to stop. Yeah, no means no. Haggis, 69, said the publicist was flirtatious and, while sometimes seeming conflicted, initiated kisses and blank sex in an entirely consensual interaction. Lies. He said he couldn't recall whether they had intercourse. You see how they lie? What was he? Let's see. What's the age difference here? He's almost 70. She's almost... So he was 30 years older and he's convinced that she's into him? Come on. It's disgusting. Jurors sided with Breest, who said she suffered psychological and professional consequences from her encounter with Haggis. She sued in late 2017. I thought I was getting a ride home. I agreed to have a drink. Young ladies, listen to that. Do not ever agree to any of that. What happened never should have happened, and it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with him and his actions, she told jurors. Breest, in particular, said she decided to sue Haggis because his public condemnations of Harvey Weinstein infuriated her. This man raped me, and he is presenting himself as a champion of women to the world, she recalled, thinking. And you all know there's more. You know there's more. 4 other women also testified that they experienced forceful, unwelcome passes, and in one case, rape by Haggis, in separate encounters going back to 1996. None of the 4 took legal action. Oh, I'm sure LAPD knew nothing about all this stuff either, did they? Nobody ever knows anything, do they? But of course, a lot of LAPD officers have been arrested for rape as well, but that's not counting the ones who were never caught. Let's just keep it real. The behavior showed me that he was somebody who was never going to stop, one woman testified, saying that Haggis repeatedly tried to kiss her against her will and even followed her into and out of a taxi to her apartment in Toronto in 2015. His lawyers sought to assail the accuser's credibility. They always do, don't they? They always do. And I know, I got to look into it, but when I first started researching this, I'm pretty sure all these ex-Scientologists in Aftermath that whine all day long, I'm pretty sure they interviewed this guy. And you can't tell me they didn't know what's going on. I don't buy it. The Associated Press generally does not identify people who say they have been sexually assaulted unless they come forward publicly, as Breest has done. Haggis denied all of the allegations. He told jurors the accusations left him shaken. Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm scared because I don't know why anyone would lie about things like this, he said. Crying like a bitch. During 3 weeks of testimony, the trial scrutinized text messages that Breest sent to friends about what happened with Haggis, emails between them before and after the night in question, and some differences between their testimony and what they said in early court papers. Yeah, because somebody got to them. The 2 sides debated whether Haggis was physically capable of carrying out the alleged attack 8 weeks after spinal surgery. Psychology experts offered dueling perspectives about what one called widespread misconceptions about rape victims' behavior, such as assumptions that victims would have no subsequent contact with their attackers. And jurors had heard extensive testimony about the cult of Scientology, the religion founded by science fiction and fantasy author L. Ron Hubbard and black magician in the 1950s. Haggis was an adherent for decades before publicly renouncing and denouncing Scientology in 2009. I believe he has daughters that are gay, I think. Nothing, no shade. So he probably used them as a cover, to be honest with you, saying that why he got out of Scientology was because of his daughters were gay. He probably was told to leave because there was too much evidence. Though testimony from Haggis and other ex-members, his defense argued that the cult set out to discredit him. Oh, well, it might have had something to do with the lawsuit. No witnesses said they knew that Haggis' accusers or Breest's lawyers had Scientology ties, and his lawyers acknowledged that Breest herself does not. Still, Haggis' lawyer Priya Chowdhury, sellout, sought to persuade jurors that there were the footprints, though maybe not the fingerprints, of Scientology's involvement here. They're just grasping. The Canadian-born Haggis got his start as a TV writer, eventually penning episodes of such well-known 1980s series as Different Strokes and 30-something. He broke into movies with a splash with $1 Million Baby and Crash, which he also directed and co-produced. Each film won the Academy Award for Best Picture for 2004 and 2005, respectively, and Haggis also won a screenwriting Oscar for Crash. His other credits include the Oscar-nominated screenplay for Letters from Iwo Jima and the screenplays for the James Bond movies Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Okay, that's a weird way to end it. So then, the editor of Guardian is asking for you guys' support. So if you find yourself reading a lot of Guardian articles, they would very greatly appreciate any kind of donations. If I find myself reading more of the Guardian, I would most definitely donate. They've got a monthly of $5 per month or $13 per month, and the editor is Betsy Reed. So I hope you guys enjoy that. It's just mind-boggling to me how many rapists are just walking around Scientology. So I know that all the men are not doing that. So let me just be clear about that. But there are a lot of predators in Scientology, and they are R-ing the women, they are R-ing the children, the girls, and sometimes the boys, and it's getting covered up. So enough is enough. Bastante ahora. Peace.